Woo! What's going on, guys? I'm coming at you guys today with another video. Today's video is the aftermath. Detroit Lions going to the New York Jets, going back to New York, winning a game 20-17. Lions going up to 7-7, second in the NFC North. Still, they will never get first. The Vikings have already clinched. That was crazy. Jets falling to 7-7, still fourth in the AFC East. Still have some playoff hopes alive. Both teams do, obviously, but the Lions are getting closer and closer. Brock Wright hits paydirt. Unbelievable game. I knew it was going to be low scoring like this. I think I predicted 23-17. I missed it by 3 points. You know, the Jets got that really good defense, and going up to New York wasn't going to be a tough task, but we pulled it out, and it was what a game. Now, the injuries, we did lose safety Deshaun Elliott. Had a shoulder. I think he left in the third quarter. Don't think he returned. Did not return. So we'll keep more on that as we go on through the week. The Jets, they lost wide receiver Denzel Mims. He had a concussion. Wide receiver Jeff Smith, who was killing us, by the way, in a couple spots, had a knee injury, left in the fourth quarter. And then Quinnen Williams, who didn't play because he had a calf injury, which was really huge for the Lions. He is their best, I think, their best defensive player. And that defense is even good without him. So him missing this game was huge. Now the stats, we start off with the away team. We were that team. So let's go to the Lions. Quarterback Jared Goff was 23 of 38. 60% completion percentage, 252 yards at touchdowns, no picks, no sacks. Didn't have the greatest game, but in the end, they won. We'll talk about that when we talk a little bit later. Now, rushing running back DeAndre Swift, 8 carries for 52 yards. At a 6.5 yards per carry, I thought he could have got the ball a little bit more. We'll talk about that in a bit too. Running back Jamal Williams, it seems to be hitting a wall a little bit lately. 13 carries for 33 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. They were trying to get him going. He couldn't get going. Then running back Justin Jackson had 6 carries for 16 yards, 2.7 yards per carry as well. They did have over 100-plus yards on the ground. Amon-Ra had a carry for about 6 or 7 yards or something like that. So they barely got over 100 yards, but they did get it as a unit. Now, receiving-wise, wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 catches for 76 yards on 10 targets. Nothing great, but just as usual, man. He had a really nice game. You know, he got some key third down catches, some big catches in this game. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond, who had a really nice game, was 5 catches for 53 yards on 6 targets. And he also had a punt return that was massive for a touchdown, 47 yards on a short kick. Lions pinned the offense back of New York, and he made a couple moves, and he hit pay dirt, and he got the touchdown, got the game ball from Dan Campbell, well-deserved. Tight end Brock Wright, 1 catch for 51 yards, a touchdown, targeted twice. That touchdown was gigantic. We'll talk about that too. Running back DeAndre Swift had 5 catches for 23 yards on 9 targets. He was targeted a lot, so he was doing his thing a little bit. Then tight end James Mitchell. Now, didn't have a great game, the rookie, but he had 2 catches for 12 yards. I think one might have been even for a first down on 2 targets. So, got to get him going a little bit. Now, Jameson Williams didn't have a catch. He didn't have a catch. He beat his man on one route by a lot, actually. Goff underthrew him. Chark only had 1 catch. Reynolds had 0 catches. DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner are 2 of the most legit corners in the NFL, and they proved that yesterday. They were just awesome. They were great. Sauce Gardner didn't even get a look. They didn't even throw to him. Just saw it on Good Morning Football. He wasn't even targeted. So whoever he was on, he locked down. That just tells you Chark and Reynolds didn't do squat. Chark had 1 catch for like 8 yards or whatever it was. I don't even remember the yardage, but he didn't do he didn't do anything, or Reynolds. So, and then Khalif, it was the Khalif Raymond and guys like DeAndre Swift who were getting looks more. So, and then the James Mitchells. So they shut down our guys like Chark and Reynolds. So they did their job. But Khalif was awesome, got the game ball and everything. Now defensively, safety, Deshaun Elliott, 6 tackles. He did leave the game. Jeff Okudah, cornerback, had 6 tackles. He didn't have a good game. We'll talk about that in a bit too. Safety, Kirby Joseph, 6 tackles. He didn't have a good game either. Defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson, the rook, had 5 tackles and a tackle for loss. Played the run, I think, well. A couple pressures. Didn't get to the quarterback, though, but he did do some things. Defensive end, Romeo Wakwara, second game back. Romeo, 4 tackles, 2 sacks. Good to have the big man back. Defensive lineman, John Kaminsky, I think one of the most underrated D linemen in the NFL. Had 2 tackles and a sack, a big one in the 4th. And then cornerback Jerry Jacobs had 2 tackles and a pick, first pick of his career. Then outside linebacker James Houston, the rookie out of Jackson State, had a tackle and a sack. One of the easiest sacks ever. Wasn't even blocked. But hey, take it. That's what you get. You got 5 sacks in 4 games, son. He is having a fantastic year as a situational pass rusher. That's what he is, and he's taking full advantage. And then guys like McNeil, Eli McNeil and Buggs, Isaiah Buggs, the 2 inside guys, had 9 tackles between the 2. They shut down the run, man. They shut down the run with those linebackers. They had a really solid game. Now on to the Jets. Quarterback Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, the second-year kid, was the starter. 18 for 35 at 51% completion percentage. He did throw for 317 yards. We'll talk about why he did that. Couple touchdowns, 1 pick, and he was sacked 4 times. Running back Zonovan Knight, that guy I was a little bit worried about, 13 carries for 23 yards, shut completely down on a 1.8 yards per carry. Running back Michael Carter, 4 carries for 15 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. Then quarterback Zach Wilson had 3 carries for 7 yards at a 2.3 yards per carry. 50 yards rushing as a whole for the Jets offense. Lions defense shut down that rushing attack completely. Now receiving, wide receiver Garrett Wilson, the kid I was a little bit worried about, had 4 catches for 98 yards on 9 targets. Probably could have had a lot more if Zach Wilson had some accuracy. He's got accuracy problems. He's got lots of problems, that kid. Wide receiver Jeff Smith got 4 catches for 77 yards at 5 targets. Wide receiver Elijah Moore had 4 catches for 51 yards on 7 targets. Then tight end CJ Uzama, kid that came over from the Bengals, 2 catches, 41 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 long one that beat Kirby Joseph on 2 targets. So Uzama, who's not really known for being the pass catcher, he did have a decent year last year in Cincinnati catching the ball, but this year he's mainly been a blocker, but he had the two touchdowns for the New York Jets. And defensively, they locked it down, but they didn't make a lot of plays. Like didn't force any turnovers, didn't get any sacks. Linebacker Quincy Williams had 7 tackles. Linebacker Quan Alexander had 6 tackles. Safety Will Parks had 9 tackles. Safety Jordan Whitehead had 6. Cornerback Sauce Gardner did have 4 tackles, but wasn't even targeted once in that Lions offense. And then cornerback Michael Carter II did have 5 tackles. So they didn't get to the quarterback, didn't force any turnovers, no forced fumbles, no fumble recoveries, nothing of that. But they did shut down that Lions offense for the most part. Now let's talk the Lions defense versus the Jets first. Sacks, baby. We got to the quarterback. We got to Zach Wilson. We were supposed to do that. That's what I wanted to see. We pressured him all day. He made a couple miraculous throws I thought were a lot of BS. Throwing the ball up in the air, going into Jets' hands. Kind of felt like this game was going to slip because of those plays. I was like, oh no, here we go again. The bounces are going the Jets' way. We might lose this close football game. But I thought our defense played lights out. The only problem is our secondary is really, really bad. It's a really bad secondary. This was Zach Wilson's probably second best game of his career, or at least into 2022. He did have a decent game against the Patriots a little bit earlier in the season, but he threw over 317 yards. His completion percentage was terrible, though, and he did give up a pick. But our secondary is terrible. Okudah didn't have a good game. Will Harris is terrible. Jerry Jacobs didn't have a great game. He did have a pick, but it was a gimme. It was perfectly. It was just lobbed to him. I don't even know where Zach Wilson was throwing that ball. But we did shut it down. We shut the run game down. forced Zach Wilson to try and beat us, and it worked. Zerline, we back and forth at the end there. Dan Campbell going for it Dan Campbell trying to kick that field goal, right? Then it gave that Jets defense, and then Badgley missing the 54-yarder, and then it gave that Jets offense a short field. They end up scoring the touchdown, and then we come back and blah blah blah. You know the history, but it just overall, I just think that our defense was good. Our defense was good, except the secondary is terrible. Now let's talk about the Lions offense versus the Jets D. I thought they were playing conservative, in my opinion, a little bit for most of the game. Now, that Jets defense is legit. It's a legit defense. It's no laughing matter, even with guys like Quinnen Williams out of the picture. I think the road woes obviously continue, especially with our quarterback situation. Goff wasn't good. He even admitted it. The offense wasn't even good. It's not just him. The offense wasn't good. They couldn't get the run game going, even though they had over 100 yards. Even though Swift had a nice yards per carry. They were trying to get Jamal Williams going. They just couldn't get him going. Everybody was healthy on that team. Offensively for us, I thought we would have been a little bit better offensively. Now, I know we played a great Jets defense, and I'm not trying to shit on this offense. I'm not, because it's still a top-notch offense. But the road woes continue, and I think it's a little bit concerning. But we're resilient, and we came through in the clutch in the end with a brilliant play call by Brad Johnson. Ben Johnson. Wow. By Ben Johnson. He had a brilliant play call at the end on 4th down. That we go all the way down, man. We're kind of driving. We're getting some looks. Goff's actually hitting some guys. We're running the ball pretty decently. Khalif doesn't get to the 1st down marker. Everybody on that Jets team thought we were doing a quarterback sneak. What's his name came out? Sheldon Rankings, the defensive tackle for the New York Jets, came out and said, we all thought Goff was doing a sneak. We thought he was doing a sneak, and that's what we were playing. And if you look at that play, it was a brilliant play call. Because you see Brock Wright's on his right, okay? Brock Wright is on Jared Goff's right side. He's on the right side of the line. He's pushing down like he's run blocking. He just releases into the left. He goes to Goff's left, and there's nobody there. No linebacker from the Jets, no safety, nobody. All Goff's got to do is hit him. He hits him. He rumbles 51 yards, untouched, pretty much. Yeah, untouched until he gets to the 1-yard line, and then he just falls into the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions, we go up. There's about 4 and change left. No, there was a minute and something left at that point. The Jets went up when it was 4 and change. When Campbell attempted that field goal, or Badgley attempted the field goal, where they probably should have punted. And then they got the short field, and they scored the go-ahead touchdown with 4 and change left to Azuma. And then I was like, man, we're going to lose this game. And then we were driving on that thing, and I was like, before the Brock Wright touchdown, I was in a Lions group. I'm kind of rambling. I'm in a Lions group, and I'm complaining about the offense. I'm not complaining about Goff. I'm not complaining about the running game. I'm not complaining about the offensive line, which I think played well. I thought they did play well. No sacks. They kept Goff pretty clean. So it's complaining about the offense as a whole. I was like, I know we're facing a top defense, but we got to score. The penalties killed us. We had Evan Brown had 2 penalties, took a touchdown back, actually. I thought the one penalty was kind of weak. Ragnow had a couple penalties as well, holding. Sewell had a penalty. So there was about 5 or 6 big penalties on our O-line altogether. Might have even been more. But they just, it was a little sloppy. It was a little bit sloppy. Took away a touchdown or 2. I was like, man, we need to score on these guys. I know it's a top-notch defense, but we're supposed to be a top-notch offense. But the road woes continue. That's why I'm just a little bit concerned. I'm not taking away from the win. I'm not taking away from Jared Goff, man, being ice in his veins and, 4th down, hitting Brock Wright. I'm not taking any of that away. But we need to be better on the road offensively. I think we really do, man. We got problems. We got problems with that, and we got problems with the defense, with the secondary. The secondary is atrocious, man. In Detroit, we are atrocious. Everyone keeps talking about like we need a defensive player in the draft. We do. It could be corner. It could be corner coming up at the wherever that Rams pick ends up. It could be a corner. So don't be surprised, guys. We're set on the D-line. But the problem is with this D-line, and there's not a problem with the D-line, but if we don't get to the quarterback, we're in a ton of trouble. We're in a ton of trouble as a unit. Because then now you're relying on the secondary to lock shit down. And that's not really happening. So it's like, we got to get to the quarterback, and that's not always going to happen. So don't be surprised this team goes corner heavy in the draft coming up, and that's a whole other video. But they're resilient, man. The offense is resilient. Ben Johnson, who I didn't think had the greatest play call of, like I don't think he had a great day play calling, but when it came in the clutch, he made that, I thought, phenomenal call to Brock Wright. And going back to Brock Wright was special. Because 2-3 plays before that, he dropped an easy ball by Goff. Goff hit him right in the hands. He dropped it. So it's like, okay, Brock Wright, man, take a seat. You're done. No. They go to him 3-4 plays later, and he scores the touchdown. So that just goes that they trust this unit. They trust each other. So just a little bit concerned about a couple things on this team. The Roros, I think, continue offensively, especially with the quarterback situation. Goff, I don't think was great. He still only got 3 touchdowns on the year on the road. I think it's a little bit concerning. And I'm concerned about the secondary. Very much so. Very concerned about this secondary. They're just not a good secondary. So I think we need to clean some stuff up. Need to be better a little bit offensively and better in the secondary. I don't see how they're going to get better in the I think they can clean some stuff up offensively because they have the guys, they have the coaches, but you don't have the personnel in the secondary. That's the key problem. That's the main issue I think that they have going into this secondary problem. So, but they won the game, man. That's all that matters. They came through in the clutch. The problems we can worry about those problems a little bit later on. They came down to it when they needed it the most. They scored the big touchdown. Goff was big at the end there. He had ice in his veins on that last drive. Made a couple nice throws. So that's a good thing. Going back to Brock Wright, I think was good. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed completely shut out Shark and Josh Reynolds to nothing. They just didn't do anything whatsoever. They caught one ball between both of them. So what they had to do is they did it, and they got that touchdown. Had to go to the tight end or somebody else, man. Besides the normal, usual guys, they had to go to the tight end, man, who they don't use a ton. And they threw like 4 or 5 balls to tight ends on this day, and they really haven't done that since T.J. Hawkinson. So it's a big win, man. It's a big win for the Lions. They go to 7-7. We're inching closer and closer to a playoff spot. We need some help still. Seattle's got a tough road coming up. I think the Giants and the Washington, they have a tougher road. We could sneak in there, man. We could sneak in there. On the Carolina Panthers are next on the victim list. We go there. Our next 2 games are on the road. 3 out of 4. Our next 3 games out of 4 are on the road. We just had one. You know what I mean? Just had one. Go to another one. Come back home. Go to another one in Green Bay. Let's focus on the Carolina Panthers next. That's a team, I think they're trying to win their division, and they got 5 wins, 6 wins. So they're trying to win. They're trying to win the division, so they're not going to lay down. It's a team that plays tough, too. Even though they got rid of some guys like McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, whoever they got rid of, man. They got rid of some guys, man, and it looked like they were kind of packing it in, but they have a shot to win their division, which is crazy. So they got playoff implications going on as well. So that's it, guys. I appreciate it, man. Big win for the Detroit Lions, going to 7-7, winning the last 6 out of 7 games. There's some concerning things going on, but winning trumps it all. and that's what we're doing right now, so that's good. Thanks a lot, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Get all my videos. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Let's talk about it, man. Big win in New York. Going back there. Let's go, bro. Boom. Go Lions. Bam, 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 bam. Woo! Let's go.